Hotspot in the midst of this year's biggest storm. Well, that's not sounding too great in there. Hopefully it all works out in the end. Otherwise, I won't hold it against you if you decide to drop out in the middle of it due to worsening weather conditions. In the meantime, good evening, afternoon, or whatever time of the day it is in your part of the world, and tonight it's back to Warhammer Wednesdays. After all, I still have a bit of a debt to settle in that regard, in the sense that I need to actually finish at least one Warhammer game that is not Dawn of War. That's a self-imposed challenge, if you can believe me. But we'll get there when we will get there. The quest for Necron Chan will continue, even though she won't reciprocate our emails. But one day, unless it's another scam by Trace in the Infinite, he looks to steal something from us before we steal it in return. Give it a second while I finally do some final adjustments, and after that, get over here. There we go. As per usual, tilted a little bit, but should be fine now. Also, looks like the color is not exactly what I expected of the chat. Maybe I should just turn off the shadows and see you tomorrow if that did work out. But for now, let's continue where we left off. Remind me, I will need a quick reminder as to where that off where. Right. What do we have? Another heretic mission, obviously. Unfortunately, I cannot send you the boat. The only dinghy I have is A, in the garage, and B, still needs to be inflated. Or I can at least send you a paddle, if that helps. Alright, Phosphor Serpenta, Cognitive Canister, Heavy Arc Rifle, Skitari Ranger upgrade. Ooh, finally hitting the hard missions. Heavy Arc Rifle, 3 cognition points to activate, 3 augments required. Single target ranged attack upon hitting target turns into a cone area attack. Videx, what do you have for me? Gauss Gamma Pistol, Omnispecs, or Cognition Mechadendrite and Power Field Generator. We could go for that one, maybe a little later. Capra's got Scanner and an upgrade for Sicarian Infiltrators. Row will give us Heavy Phosphor Blaster, 4 cognition points. Shoots multiple projectiles in a cone area and reveals target statistics. So tempting, but so very, very activation heavy. The 2 bosses that we can face are, of course, the Lord Astronomer, will give us Eradication Ray, Noise Reductor, and Troop Deployment Cost Reduction. And there's the Corrupted King, Lord Ubiao. He will give us Curatio Mechadendrite for 4 HP heal, another Refractor Field Generator, and Cognition Gauge max size increase. Very tempting. And the 3rd Heretic mission will give us a Power Axe and Skitari Vanguard upgrade. Now this is interesting because we are lacking in the melee weapons department at the moment. The Power Axe will only cost 1 cognition point to activate, 4 to 6 physical damage. Machine Spirit destroy 2 energy and physical armor. If we look at the ones we currently have, we've got Omnissiah Axe, which is used for free, 2 to 4 physical damage. Power Axe, 3 to 5 physical damage, 1 energy and 1 armor, which will be basically an upgrade over this one, and Zenorite Axe. 2 to 4 physical damage, acid, also destroys 1 energy and physical armor on Machine Spirit. Tempting. Very, very tempting. And of course the secret mission will give us Infestus Mechadendrite and another Energia Enhancer, which is interesting. Maybe we'll go for that one second. But first, let's see about that heavy arc rifle. So, the Charnel Pit. The original source of biological materials used by the Flayed Ones of the Tomb of Ubiao must be the settlers from St. Eckhardt's Hope. Find their remains and recover any archaeotech and resources they possessed. Hard mission, so we better prepare accordingly. Jeremiah, Leonardus, Manarius, or Ryacus. We're gonna be taking Skitari Vanguard, Skitari Ranger, and I'm thinking Skitari Ranger Alpha. Same canticles as before: Litany of Life, Cant of the Craft, and Litany of the Electromancer. If timeline research equal true, then research opportunity is acquired. Hypothesis: settlers of St. Eckhardt's Hope provided original source of biological materials for Flayed Ones. A gruesome fate, and a boarding about the unlearned strain too close to the works of the alien. Settlers' remains still present in Tomb of Ubiao. Likelihood more than 0. Hypothesis addendum: archaeotech and other supplies still present with remains. Acquiring it would be a task few would relish, but if such material is there to be recovered, it may be worth the risks. Tech Acquisitor Mindset detected. Knowing what I've seen in some of the 40k animations, best not to dwell on it. For once, I doubt there will be too much difficulty locating our objective. I do not know what means the Necrons used to preserve the tissue of the settlers the Flayed Ones brought into the tomb, but it worked until now. Hypothesis: tomb's location by Skitari scouts precipitated process of decay. Whatever the reason, you'll just have to follow the stench. There is no time to remove the cohort's olfactory capabilities to make the mission less onerous. They shall have to ask the Omnissiah for the strength to cope. And Seethe, presumably. Let's see. So, here and here. The quickest way would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go the bottom route. Potential outcome calculation follows. Resource acquisition trapped by hazard exposure. A sorry heap of human remains lies at the foot of the one wall in the intersection ahead. The leathery and aged look of the skin suggests the corpse is one of the settlers dragged into the tomb by the Flayed Ones. Avoid. Autopsy. Archive. Let's try autopsy, but I have a feeling we'll just learn that they were killed by Flayed Ones or Gauss weapons. The brittle corpse breaks open upon contact, exuding a cloud of toxic spores. In spite of this, the means of death is clear. Several deep lacerating wounds from long, extremely sharp blades. So, yes, Flayed Ones. As expected. Now let's see what glyph we're gonna get from this one. If I recall correctly, we're going to go with left one. That was the incorrect choice. More initiative for the Necrons. Unfortunate, but we'll have to endure. In we go. Immortal detected. Database unlocked. Loading. Razak awakens, sire. Why he locked us away from his Necron studies I do not know, but it is fueling my emotion receptors with frustration. His naming of the Necrons is helpful, however. Loaded personal recording. Subject immortal NN032. Subject is far more resilient than the warrior class. They also show signs of cognition, where warriors possess none. Sightings of them blurting out what seem to be direct and basic orders, proof of some cognition. Be aware of Terry weapon Dizin Olecu safe. File corrupted. Alright. We've got one immortal here. Another over here. A third one here, and one destroyer. Yeah, this one's gonna be a tough fight. So here is how I'm thinking we're gonna do this. Jeremiah goes here, Leonardus goes here. Manarius will back up Jeremiah, Oriacus will stay where he is, so over here. Skitari Vanguard will join this flank. And that is it for now. Out they go, of course. Weapons are shorter range, so I'm guessing those are ghost weapons. Now, Manarius, if we were to run up over here, how strongly would that be? Then again, first of all, tell me your weakness. Energy armor, which means we are gonna need to close in with the melee weapons or open up with something like Skitari Vanguard. Now, we can of course also try to do something about that destroyer, but I would rather us stay in one piece for now. So, get over here. If need be, we'll bail you out. Oriacus, what do you have? Time to actually grab some cognition points first and foremost. And then we'll do some chip damage to this one. Now, Jeremiah, we're gonna need you for some very important task. I trust you will be able to accomplish it with no complications. We'll soon learn about you. But first, cognition mechanism, right? Sanctus canister. No, a little too late for that, so cognition freedom. And now we can break out the Arc Scourge. No, then again, rather go with a power axe. And very nice. We stay where we are. Now, Vanguard. How about we apply some more pressure on the Immortal? And you, Leonardus, will have a wonderful, wonderful task of seeing what that one is up to. Or rather, what is his deal? Aha, physical armor. Oh, I'll take that, thank you. Now, as for you, my dear friend, 20 health and 3 energy armor. Now, that's what I'd like to see. So, power field generator, go. And Zenerite X, go. Very good damage all around. Anyone else looking to get into the fight? Not yet, it seems. Well, time to deploy the Skitari Ranger on this spot. There's a good attack. At least I presume it's a good attack. We're taking some damage here. 5, 4. Good. Very good. Always like to be proven wrong in that. Now then. I suppose we can get over here and start applying some pressure on the destroyer. Just so that it's not feeling all too comfortable in our presence. And if we are going to go all in, might as well Energy Enhancer and Zenerite Pattern Volkai Blaster. Go! Wonderful. At least I hope it's wonderful. We'll find out in a bit. And scurry away to this point. Now, Oriacus. We still have the Gamma Pistol to shoot away at them. The Omnissiah X won't do us much good over here. But we'll collect all the cognition we can. Also, Distant Prayers on Jeremiah. So that we are always topped off. Continue applying chip damage. And I do mean chip damage. Jeremiah, I believe you will be able to deal with this one. If we are all good. However, we'll see if any opportunity attacks proc. So stay where you are for now. And good damage? Good damage. Very good damage. Same from his end. But nothing we cannot fix. Absolutely nothing. Now, let's hope it does. And hey there, Swaghammer. Always happy to see you. And... ah, wonderful. Leonardus, I of course would like you to take down that Necron, but I'd rather have you deal with that one first. You never know when you need just that tiny bit of awake level reduced. Now, of course, such a terrible assault cannot go unanswered. Therefore, still 2 damage. Unfortunate. Now, we will have a fire come next turn, but the destroyer will do some damage, so stay where you are. Very good dodge. Still tries to run away. The damage goes through once again. 6 damage. Little unpleasant. Now tell me what you are. Physical armor. Then all of our attacks were not for naught. I should be able to deal with you right now. Almost. No. Another Gamma Pistol on you. And maybe we should get into melee range, at at least for now. I'm thinking it's time to buff our Skitarii Ranger. Come on, any damage would be good. Not this time. Oh well. Now, Jeremiah, think you can finish off the destroyer? Sure, you should be able to. Got the Phosphor Blast pistol. First, however, just a little bit more cognition, then we go over here. And now we should be able to. There we go. And grab all the cognition points you can. We're milking them dry. Absolutely. Some more nasty damage, but we'll be dealing with you in no time at all. Bit of a waste of machine spirit, but just to be on the safe side. Time to move back. Now what word? Because I am genuinely confused. No, really. I'm half feigning ignorance and half asking politely. So please. Oh. Oh, that one. Fine, fine. I'll keep it in mind. Also, good damage there. Oof. But we get something to retaliate with. Also, disable shot. So that you don't get any other funny ideas. Now, I suppose we should be able to take you out if we are lucky, and we should. Come on. There we go. Just enough. Congratulations. You'll get double rations if you make it out of this one alive. Don't think we need to deploy anyone else, but you know what? Sure. Just for that, interrupt. So that they don't get any funny ideas. While we're at it, heal everyone up. To the best of your abilities. That's why we have all these nice cognition gauges, for after all. Probably should have moved him in another direction, but for now, this will suffice. Always nice to see that. Deal with that one. And up we go. This will be tit for tat. When I wake up in the morning, I don't feel like Grums. Understandable. Completely understandable. Come on, do some good damage. That's what I'm talking about. Now I did break that one. So, time to bust out everything we've got, and by that I mean power field generator. And a Xenorite axe. Goodbye. A number of desiccated corpses lie in the corner of this chamber. They must be from among the settlers captured by the flayed ones and brought into the tomb long ago. Sanitize, sanctify, scavenge. Let's show some basic decency. Perform funeral rites for the dead. Brief prayers of safe passage and peaceful repose are said for the dead. The cohort does not spend much time in this chamber, but the rites, however, untruncated, give them a sense of hope and righteousness in this place of foulness. And there will be a third room as well, which I didn't notice just yet. Ooh, first time seeing this one. Bloody red. I think it shouldn't be something very good. But just to sate my curiosity once and see if it is what I think it is. Unfortunately. Why are techies so obsessed with Necrons? Because alien technology. And they want all of the alien technology for themselves, despite everything telling them not to. They may be smart, but they're also dumb like that. Oh, Triarch Praetorian. Also a Death Mark and a Destroyer. It's like nerd boys obsessed with goth girls, all the same. Close enough. So, I'm thinking Jeremiah goes here. Leonardus goes here. Manarius over here. And Oriacus here. Not deploying any of the cohorts for now. We'll let the Destroyer take the first step. 6 damage. 4. I'll take it. And the cognition too. Now tell me about this Triarch Praetorian. Energy armor. Okay. Yes, I'm thinking we're gonna do it. First of all, the Necron Immortal is up next, so we'll get over here. So that he won't shoot Manarius first. And then again, Manarius is the one with the most energy armor, so that would be a better choice. Energy Enhancer. Cognition Freedom. And Arc Rifle go on the Death Mark. Critical hit. That's what I like to see. Oriacus, you stay where you are. And, well, although I can put you over here and you'll draw away all of the flayed ones with this one. Very nice critical. Now, they're gonna all target you, so do not worry. Not yet, at least. There it goes. Another shot. You're still alive. I will keep you alive. Thank you for all the cognition you're gathering for us. The flayed ones shouldn't be too much of a problem. Now, Jeremiah. Grab all of these. Get over here. Tell us what you can about that destroyer. What armor's he got? Physical armor. Very nice. Which means we can bring out the Arc Scourge. But first. Cognition freedom. Oh, we absolutely will send him to the Shadow Realm. Oh, I think we can also break out the Sanctus canister on ourselves. Score a critical, that'd be much appreciated. 8 damage is also nothing to scoff at. So we get over here, we take back the cognition we just spent. And just because we can, a little bit of physical damage. Hopefully it goes through. We'll find out. Uh-huh. One damage is nothing too interesting, but it will add up at some point, especially with crits like these. Oh, and of course, here comes the Triarch Praetorian. Also highly unpleasant individual. But we can deal with that too. So... Leonardus. Get us some more cognition. Get some physical armor for our good tech priest, healer. And activate your power field generator so that we can get closer to that bastard. That's what I like to see. Give me that. Thank you. And now we can start deploying our cohort, which means... Skitarii Vanguard, you are up. Now, who are you gonna shoot? Nobody, because you missed. I, however, will see you burn. In just a bit. 7 damage. Maybe it's time to break out the Zenerite Pattern Volkite Blaster for this one. Just so that we are absolutely sure that you will not survive. This would be the nuclear option, which I don't think warrants that. So, ciao! Now gimme your cognition point. I'm gonna make some investments back. Now, first of all, Aricus, heal yourself up. And now, buff that Vanguard and start breaking faces. That should be enough for now. You move away, and you're still up. We'll find out what you are in a second. Damage absorbed, that's what I want to see. Tell me your secrets. Physical damage. Understood. That's why we have the Arc Scourge. That's what we have the Arc Scourge around for. But first, hopefully this should be enough. Almost. Fine, I suppose we'll just do it as always. And just a little bit closer so that you don't get any funny ideas. And we pop overcharged cognition. Now we are unstoppable. Ah, come on now. You can do better than that. I know you can. So do your best next time, please. This will be unpleasant. We gotta do something about that one fast. There we go. Even with a critical one at that. That's what I like to see. The game can be, I'd say, hard in the beginning. After that, things balance themselves out. Or at least get a little more, how should I put it, yes, a little less hard, to cut a long story short. Might as well. Yeah, looks like they are all nothing interesting. Now this one's gonna hurt a little bit, so apologies in advance. But the critical was well worth it, if you ask me. Well worth it. Now we just need to finish up this immortal. And especially heal up our Jeremiah over there. That and distant prayers on our good ranger. We are done over with you. Now if you move, you are dead. Like that. That's what I also like to see. Excuse me. Whew. One of the Dead Settlers has been transformed into a hideous trophy of skin and rearranged body parts, displayed in the center of this chamber like a signpost or monument. It is impossible to guess what the diseased Flayed Ones hoped to achieve by creating such a thing. Burn it. Fire solves every problem when applied in sufficient quantities. The trophy is rapidly turned into a guttering torch of shriveling flesh, and shortly afterwards becomes nothing but ashes. The cohort can be certain they have done the righteous thing. And the final room. Necrons reanimate one turn faster. This is not gonna be pleasant. But we'll deal with this. Ah, same room. What do we have starting out? Destroyer, Immortal, another Death Mark, 2 Immortals. Minus the... no, there is one Flayed One. So, yeah. We can deal with all of that. Abso-freaking-lutely. Jeremiah up front, Leonardus on the flank, Manarius in the middle, and Oriacus up close for heals. Skitarii Ranger Alpha together with Jeremiah, and I'm thinking Skitarii Ranger over here too. Or we can deploy him next turn. Let's economize a little bit. Besides, as you can see, they can still shoot at us from this one. Tell me about this death mark. No armor. That is precisely what I wanted to see. Time for the nuclear option. Cognition freedom. Arc rifle. Roll the bones and down it goes. Grab this cognition, and now we can also nuke the flayed one. Or the warrior, or rather immortal. That one should also be an acceptable option. Oh, and of course, Energy Enhancer, just so that we are completely certain nothing survives. Almost. We'll get to you in a bit. Can we get over here? We absolutely can. Tat for tat. Grab some more delicious black stone. And I will see you up ahead. Two damage, 3, 5. I was way off on that one. However, Ranger Alpha should be good enough to deal with you. In theory, at least. We'll see how it gets in practice. And just so that you don't get any funny ideas too, you stay where you are. Otherwise, I will see to it. Physical armor, as expected. Oh, let's get the flayed one out of the way. Give me all of that cognition. And you we can deal with as well, or at least we can use efficiently enough, so cognition freedom. Sanctus canister on us. Bring out the Arc Scourge. Decent damage, very decent, and so that also so that you don't get any funny ideas. We'll stay right here. You move, and we hit you. Can you go down? Unfortunately not. So that means you've got physical armor. We'll find out in a bit. Leonardus, how would you like to hit that one in the face? Oh, you're absolutely going to hit him in the face. After all, that is precisely what I've given you this Zerorite axe for. And if he moves... yes, it should do the trick. Sure, this one. Wonderful. Anyone else coming up? Yeah, another flayed one. No biggie. Vanguard deployed. That is tempting. Very tempting. But I think I'd rather have you over here for now. We'll deal with that in a second. No funny ideas on your end. So, stay down. Both of yous. And we'll deal with that one in a bit. Down, boy. Some people are just ungrateful. And all the opportunities you give them, they just won't quit. Shameful, really. But I still gotta deal with you. Maybe this will be enough? It was. Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. Now, if I recall correctly, destroying this console will also count as a kill, so we should get one cognition point right back up. Let's see if we do it. Of course. Fine. We'll do that as well. But it did count as a kill, so one cognition point back. And stay where you are. Leonardus, would you be so kind as to destroy that console? I know you will. You're a chump like that. Gotta keep it under 2. Regular warrior, thankfully. I don't think we're going to be deploying the Skitari Ranger for now, so grab all of these. I don't see any other consoles to activate, so Cognition Freedom is still on the cooldown, so I suppose we're gonna need to do that one regularly. The radius should not be too big, but big enough for our purposes. Are we done? Not yet. Looks like they will still throw one last one at us. Oh, of course. There's also that immortal, which we're gonna need to deal with in a bit. And when I say in a bit, it means we're gonna walk up to him, soften him up with a gamma pistol, remove some of his armor, And then whack him with our Omnissiah axe. Clap your hands if you believe. We believe! Thank you, Omnissiah. Thank you for being with us tonight. The cohort finally reaches the main repository of the remains of the dead settlers. Stripped of skin and flesh, the heap of bones and desiccated tissue contains several examples of valuable augmentations and a few items of archaeotech. The cohort returns to the tomb entrance with their scavenged haul. Acquisition and enumeration commencing. Archaeotech and augmetic resources, more valuable than mission losses. Conclusion, positive. I permit myself some solace that something of value has been retrieved from the tomb of Ubiao. What we acquired will do much good in the continuation of our mission. Addendum personal, my own augmentations failing. Ocular bionic selected, replacement imminent. Yeah, this one definitely paid for itself. Anything you'd like to add? Of course there is. Incendine Combustor. 4 cognition points to activate. 2 augments. 4 to 6 physical damage to targets in an area. Sprays fire in a cone. Burn deals 2 damage over 3 rounds. And a 3rd level of Sanctus Canister. We'll consider it. Maybe we'll need to go for the Corrupted King soon after that. We'll see. First, however, time to grab that upgraded power axe. Big guns never tire. Absolus's heretics have seized one of the Caestus Metallican's gun decks. Assault the traitors and drive them out. So once again, all of our boys. We'll take our newly upgraded Skitari Ranger Alpha. Now he's got a 100% chance to miss you. Now he's got an activated ability. Target has a 100% chance to miss you with its attacks for 1 round. This will be useful. So that, and that. Magus, I bring news of progress. The heretics have seized one of the starboard gun decks. You state this as if it is a cause for celebration. It means we have forced them out into the open. Now they present themselves as a target. We can finally strike back at them. If they succeed in taking control of the starboard guns, the heretics can cripple the ship. I permit myself a sense of consternation at this possibility. It will not come to that, Magus. We shall purge the heretics with steel and radiation. Error, confusion, stack overflow. Purpose of heretic activity equal uncertain. They are desperate. They are compelled to strike a meaningful blow before they are rooted out. Logic equals no. Ref, Absolus Damak Yoth. No action without purpose. No risk without certainty of reward. Heretics are pawns to be sacrificed. If they are to be sacrificed, it will be on the altar of the Omnissiah's justice. Whatever their purpose, they cannot be allowed to achieve it. We dispatch the cohort immediately. Mission parameters are to breach and sanitize. The heretics are using corrupted servitors to hack the controls of one of the deck cannons. If they gain control, the cannon's enormous destructive power could be turned on the Caestus Metallican. Let's see, eliminate the servitors being used to hack the deck cannon. The heretics must be punished for their treachery. The first priority is to kill them all. The quickest way to foil the heretics' plans is to deny them the use of the deck cannon. Cut power to the cannon so their efforts to control it become futile. I'm thinking we go with either first or third option. We should be fast enough to get to any of the power stations, in theory. But servitors present a much easier target to deal with. Then again, why not both? Target the main power conduit. Sever it and the whole deck will go dark. Then there is nothing the heretics can do. Target the servitors. Keep that cannon offline. It is intellect, not fury, that will banish these heretics from my ship. Aphorism Retriever Addendum. Fury has its uses. The layout of the gun deck suggests a number of possible approaches. Advance steadily on the enemy to maximize firepower. Attempt to flank the heretics and strike at them from an unexpected angle. Rush the deck to give the heretics as little time as possible to respond. No, Cunning Gambit. Always Cunning Gambit. A flanking maneuver. A classic Magus, and for a reason. I would show this enemy respect enough to assume they will see us coming if we choose to march straight in. Instead, we shall use one of the maintenance accesses to hit them from the side. When we strike unseen, we strike twice as hard. Such is my hope, Sub-Tribune. The taking of the gun deck has left some heretic casualties near the entrance to the deck, while other elements of the surroundings may provide other opportunities for advantage before combat is joined. Let's see. Observe the heretics before attacking to gauge their patterns of behavior. Search one of the dead heretics for information as to their strength and objectives. A suspended bridge hangs over a group of heretics. A well-placed shot should bring it down on their heads. Do we want starting cognition, or do we want less enemies to deal with? Always go for less enemies to deal with. Cognition can be obtained in battle. Admirable combat efficiency, Magus. One shot is converted into many deaths. Take care you revel not too greatly in the deaths of those who were once our own. Those born to our enmity are one thing. Those who choose it are another. There can be nothing but death and damnation for them. Those will be provided to them. Open fire. 2 servitors killed. A burst of gunfire shears through the connections supporting the bridge, and it falls onto the heads of a group of enemies in a roar of torn steel. And now, on to the main event. Scan or destroy. Okay, it's directly across where we're starting. We've got one tech priest and two tech priests ahead of us. One right next to us, as well as one here. Couple of servitors and other tech priests. The number of tech priests certainly seems to grow. But at least it's only one we have to deal with. Therefore, Leonardus, you stand here. Jeremiah over here. Monarius here, and Oriacus here. Won't be deploying anyone over here. How long can we run? Long enough, it seems. I'll be taking these. Now we get a little up close and personal and see what you are all about. Tell me your secrets. I see a flamer after all, and I don't like it. So we will be dealing with you with utmost efficiency. Here, have this. We get some of that cognition back, because you are a strange creature, and you will be cut down should you decide to move. Hope I made myself clear enough. Meanwhile, Monarius, we need to get the hell out of dodge because that one also has a flamer, so continue that away. File on in. Do not let them corner you. Up goes the first servitor. And this tech priest. You've got a Zenorite Power X, but it's no use for you, buddy. Ow. Of course you got a Mechadendrite as well, but thank you for the cognition. If you try to move... Ah, of course you're also healing up. But if you try to move... Of course, you also get a Mechadendrite. But that's precisely why we have a Tech Priest Engineer with us. Now! Of course, it's one-off lethal. I should have known. But thank you for all this cognition. No, really. It means a lot to us. Thank you for this valuable contribution. Hey. You leave well enough alone. Now, if we get over there, what are the chances that we'll be asked to then kill all of them? They are pretty damn high, as they say, but let's see about that. Down the power goes. Yep, kill all enemies. Well, better start getting the kill zone up and running. I'll be taking that. And you... Congratulations, you, my friend, are going to go first. Nothing personal, I just hate you. Same with you, bozo. Just because you've got a Zenorite X does not mean you know how to use it properly. Damage absorbed, but we're still burning. Unpleasant. But come on, form up the kill zone. Form up. Come on, gather up, gather up. That's what we're here all for, isn't it? While we're at it, first of all, distant prayers on you. Serve a skull on any of the troops, so not yet. I think we're gonna take this one on the chin. Acid? Acid. Burn and acid, therefore we are applying cleanse and ointments. We're no longer burning and aciding. And here's a parting gift for you, because you asked nicely. I will see you up ahead. I don't think I'm gonna be deploying anyone else for now. Well, besides the Skitarii Ranger, that one's always a classic. Eternal classic, one might even add. 2 to 9. I'll take it. But of course, that one was a miss. So, time to bust out overcharged cognition. Power X to... Alright. You're dodging all of the attacks from me. Well, we'll stay right here then. Tell me a bit about yourself. Uh-huh. I should be able to deal with you, especially once I pop Cognition Freedom. Would that be far enough to reach you? Of course it would. Sayonara, sucker! Ah, beautiful crit. We, in the meantime, continue into the designated kill zone. Or rather, moving towards the designated kill zone that we have designated for ourselves. Nailed it. Cognition thieves. I'll deal with you in a second. Strip some armor from you and get back some of that cognition. Will be a bit of a waste. No, it's still there. Precisely what I want to see. And back at the spot. Anyone else coming up? Of course. What are they using? Arc pistols? Wouldn't surprise me, considering 2 damage is the maximum it seems to be dealing. Yeah, most likely arc pistols. But those with Zenrite power axes are dangerous. The Flamer is, of course, as dangerous as it gets. So, best be careful. So you're coping and seething. Oh, damn it. Now the song has been stuck in my head ever since I said, or rather, since someone mentioned coping. Now you should be going down with a very high chance. So, there it is. Goodbye. And we can move you over here and hit anyone that comes up with a disable shot. Now, time to deploy the Skitari Vanguard. And maybe we can also destroy that one, just so that the computer does not get any funny ideas. 1, 2, and 3. Who knows, maybe it will impact the Necron infestation down in Silver Tenebris. Oh, and of course, you ain't getting that no more. At least this turn. Might as well apply a quick Curatio Claw on our own medic. Have fun with that asshole. Forgot to pop open the energy enhancer. Then again, they'll come to us. Everyone ready? This one's gonna hurt a bit. Yeah, as I said, gonna hurt a bit. Nothing too serious. This, however, will hurt a lot. Next shot should finish you off. Give me that cognition. Anything else we can jab? Not yet, it seems. Not yet. But we can move up over here and let them come to us. Come on in. The water's fine. Even with that pesky self-heal of yours, we're ready to welcome you all. Absolutely. 2 more follows on Twitter, and I have a nagging feeling that these are bots. I really should prune my account over there. But that is beside the point. The main point is, and always has been, the destruction of the enemies of Omnissiah on this fine evening. That should be enough to deal with you, right? Of course it was. Hang in there. Now we can slowly start counterattacking, considering we only have 2 tech priests left to deal with. Cannot target that one just yet, it seems. And if we were to move up to here, yeah, we'll leave it be over there for now. And deploying Skitari Ranger Alpha to clean up the chaff that will appear. And by chaff I of course mean servitors. Yep, assets starting to dissipate. That's what I like to see. Cognition freedom is still on cooldown, but if we were to spare no expense in dealing with that one, that would be ideal. That'll be 4 cognition points. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll be left with 2. Yeah, the IRL bots can wait. Just so that we know what we're dealing with. Can we target you? Not yet. Not yet. Oh, we can start slowly advancing back in. Now, spare some cognition. Buddy old pal, of course you won't, you miser. I'll just let you try and move past me. 1 damage, 2 damage. Alright then, alright. Guess we're gonna have to deal with that servitor then. This shouldn't be too hard. No damage? No damage. That's what I like to see. Ooh. Now That's nasty. And of course he's gonna dodge any and all attacks from Manarius. He's got acid on him once again. Cleansing and ointments immediately go. And this will require some hands-on approach. Just gonna need to get closer to Leonardus and hopefully deal with that asshole before the situation spirals out of control. Can we afford to be a little bit more stingy with our cognition points? No, I don't think we will. Besides, we're only spending one cognition point to get closer, so we're gonna deal with it like so. After all, you won't be dodging damage from this one. I'll see you in a bit. Yep, gather around, gather around. I've got enough ammunition to spare for all of you. They do say spare the rod and spoil the child, but I am not a firm believer in these. But what I am a firm believer in is in corrective therapy in regards to more adult people. Now here, so that you don't get any funny ideas. And stay right here. We'll be with you shortly. Now this should be enough to last us for a while. Might as well. It's just one damage. Not even that. But I'll take it. What I will also take is this brazen maneuver that I'm about to pull. What do you have, by the way? Was it Alt? No. That was something else to get a closer look, but they do have flamers and arc pistols. So yeah, here is the grand idea as to what we are going to do with you. Time to unleash our ranged firepower on you, which means cognition freedom, energy enhancer, and Xenoid pattern Volkite blaster. I'll see you in a bit. Now this will most likely not do too much damage, but still, it's decent. Now get me some of my cognition point back, thank you. Power field generator go. I hope you won't be dodging this one. Of course you will. Bit of a waste. But nothing we cannot deal with. You are, of course, self-repairing almost immediately. What, you gonna bring out your arc pistol? Of course you will. And you also damaged your own comrade in there. Now don't think that burn will get you far enough, because I will see you burn as soon as I break through your servitors. Ow. No, not ow. The damage was absorbed. But you know what else I am going to do? I am going to heal up Jeremiah. Next, I am going to punch you in the face which worked wonderfully, mind you. And finally, we are going to fix up Leonardus, because he deserves it. And it all worked out fine. Just fine. Also, here's for you on the house. It's not much, but it's honest damage. Breaks through any armor after all. But, seeing as we are here, tell me a little bit about yourself. 2 physical, 1 energy. Yeah, decent, very decent. Very computer, as they said back in the day, very computer. You know what, I think I will start inserting this phrase into my lexicon when it comes to any sort of appreciation tech priests can confer. Very computer, or very cognitive. Maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't. All I know is that this here Arc Scourge has got your serial numbers written on it, so you better be prepared. There we go. Also, sorry about that, old chap. Inevitable. We will fix you up, of course. All part of the dental plan. After all, you are mostly dentures by this point. And no, this was not a backhanded compliment. This was a genuine compliment. I guarantee you that. In the meantime, cognition freedom is still not of cooldown, but seeing as you've got only 1 energy armor, I suppose we can be a little less stingy. But also, same setup here, we can deal with that. Maybe, well, let's not tempt fate. You're going down immediately. It burns, of course. It burns. But we'll get some of that cognition back. He's, of course, immediately self-repairing, even with that chip damage, because he is a pussy like that. But, as another great ancient old one taught us, pussy is pussy. Watch me. Now, granted, he did immediately explode after that, which was a very comedic thing. But, it was funny. I did say it was funny 2 times, because that is how funny that was. Now, you're getting your armor reduced as per damage control plan. And I will see you in a bit. In the meantime, we can all just gather around. Which angle would be the best to shoot you from? This one. That would mean we need you a little closer. We don't have too many cognition points to spare, so I suppose we can just take a small step forward. Like that. Oh, and of course, cleansing and ointment on Manarius, because that is important. Now, Ranger, can you hit him from this distance? Of course you can. You are our MVP after all. Will he go down? He absolutely goes down. You'll love to see it. Always remember, plans are useless, but planning is indispensable. The deck gun is taken back into the possession of the Adeptus Mechanicus forces, and the heretics are forced to fall back from the gun decks. Magus Faustinius, you have proven yourself resolutely opposed to the realization of my philosophy. We cannot continue to exist so violently opposed. Something, as they say, must give. I take it I am speaking with Absolus Damakiov. You do not express alarm. The functions of my biological brain generate surprise. I choose not to experience it. Then our negotiations can commence without emotive interference. This is good. What negotiations? I know you are an arch-heretic and your followers have slain my tech priests. There can be no outcome save the destruction of you and your heretics. I shall give you one chance, Magus Faustinius. The Necrons of Silva Tenebris are in the possession of technology far beyond our current state of development. Grant me command of your mission and of the Caestus Metallicon, and the followers of the Zenerite Creed will acquire this technology for the use of all mankind. I cannot allow that, Absolus. The Zenerite heresy is a disease. It takes the corruption of the enemy's works and spreads them throughout the Adeptus Mechanicus. What lies on Silva Tenebris is too dangerous to fall into the possession of your kind. Then my kind will take it by force. I have Zenerites all over the ship, ready to seize its command and control systems. Acquiesce to my demands, and you and those who remain loyal can live. And if I do not, you will die. Then, Magus Absolus, we will die. A shame, Faustinius, but not an unexpected one. Magus, the ship's communications are compromised. Something is broadcasting from within the ship. We must... I know, Sub-Tribune, it was Absolus. They spoke to me. What did they say? That they are insane. That they are on the ship. And that we have a chance to kill them. Can you get to the Cloud District very often? Well, what I'm saying, of course you don't. I'll have you know that there's no pussy! There was indeed no pussy to be found, because they have removed it, because it was inefficient. But I'm fairly certain that some of the tech priests do retain their memories. Makes for a very appealing machine engine oil storage tanks, last I heard. Then again, could be rumors spread by Skitari, bored Skitari at that. And we get a next level of Shroud Psalm. The next attack will break 6 energy armor. Toasters. Still not exactly what I'm looking for in life. That's one of the things taken care of. Now, while we are at it, we might as well go over heresies of the Inquisition. They may be listening in, but it will be a nice primer for any aspiring interrogators or acolytes that will be dealing with them in the distant future. Or not so distant, depends on their affiliation. Let's see. Inquisition. Philosophies. Okay. So, we'll go down to... where would those be? Well, then again, I suppose we can cover both of these. After all, the Inquisition is a big and complicated place, and many have different philosophies on how to protect the Imperium and stop chaos. While there are dozens of doctrinal and philosophical disputes, the two important branches are either Puritans or Radicals. Spoiler alert, both are fucked up assholes. Puritans, simply put, are those who refuse to employ the measures of the enemy, such as xenotech or the warp. They believe that associating anything with the enemy will inevitably bring corruptible influences that will only lead to damnation for all of humanity in the end, which isn't so far-fetched given the circumstances humanity faced throughout the millennia, although it was the inevitable drawback that the more zealous Puritans will eventually start to see everything as alien and chaotic influences, which only leads to even more problems down the line. Hardcore Puritans even consider inquisitors who act covertly or with any degree of subtlety as being radicals, preferring to solve their problems as brazenly and fear-inducingly as possible. Most inquisitors start out as Puritans or on the spectrum of Puritanism, but it's fairly common for some to fall into radicalism eventually, which can be classed as lesser heresy in some forms and extra heresy in most extreme aspects. Now, Puritanism can fall among three major philosophies, first one being Amalathianism, the most conservative form of Puritanism in the Inquisition and the most common of the Inquisition's factions in general. Amalathians, named after Mount Amalath, where its tenets were first set down at an inquisitorial conclave, believe that the Emperor has some sort of divine plan for the Imperium, and the Inquisition's purpose is to protect the Imperium as that plan becomes visible. Change is considered the greatest enemy, which may have some sense to it. Bluebird. Yet also be counterproductive, with the exception that they seek to overcome the factionalism so common within the Adeptus Terra. The irony that the Amalathians are themselves technically a faction is not lost on them. You'd think that a group which holds the Imperium at present as perfect would be off its rocker, but they're actually a fairly reasonable group who prefer to get shit done rather than bicker and bitch over territorial disputes. Gregor Eisenhorn was once a staunch Amalathian, but he eventually fell into radicalism in his later years. Next we get monodominance. The most extreme form of Puritanism in the Inquisition, monodominants are basically humanity taken to its logical extreme. They believe that humanity and only humanity should be allowed to continue to exist. Given that the average inhabitants in the galaxy are space pansies who would abandon you in a heartbeat, space pansies who would torture and rape you in a heartbeat, green hooligans who would fight and kill you in a heartbeat, giant space bugs who would eat you in a heartbeat, undead robots who would atomize you in a clock tick, and things much worse, this is an understandable worldview. But a rare few monodominants manage to climb even higher, closing the circle between Puritanism and radicalism and truly earning the heretic and traitor label, and it usually involves exterminatus weaponry, because it's all fun and games until the High Lords don't get their cheese tithe for afternoon tea. Mind you, this was a thing. And the last major branch of Puritans is Thorianism, the most radical form of Puritanism. While the resurrectionist concepts that make up the philosophy that had their beginnings with Prometheus, one of the founders of Inquisition, it remained rather obscure as a faction until after the rise of Sebastian Thor, the hero of the Age of Apostasy. They believe that Thor held part of the power of the Emperor within him, and thus believe that it is possible to reincarnate the Emperor of Mankind into a new body, allowing him to rebuild the Imperium and launch a new Great Crusade. As a result, Thorians closely study the nature of the human consciousness and the warp, while also keeping a close eye on individuals that show enough power to be potential hosts for the Emperor's soul, such as living saints. They are extremely close to the ecclesiarchy. Well, yes, the cheese tithe. After all, as Wallace and Gromit has taught us, the Englishmen prefer their tea with cheese and crackers. Now, Thorianism has got two branches of note to take into account, which are, first, Anomalian Beholders, a conservative branch of Thorianism which takes a more passive approach to the resurrectionist ideology. They're more content with observing humanity for the signs of God Emperor's return than actively trying to bring him back. And Ardentites, a variation of Thorian belief that claims the power of the Emperor was dispersed throughout humanity as a whole, rather than being concentrated in any one individual, derisively referred to as miracle chasers by the rest of the Inquisition for their many failed attempts at proving their beliefs, but they tend to be good investigators precisely because of this. Now, as for the radicals. Radicals are those Inquisitors who believe in fighting fire with fire, specifically using the weapons of the enemy against the enemy. According to Inquisitor Gideon Ravenor, Radicalism is an inevitable product of an Inquisitor's ideology being tested, as the more one learns about the nature of the enemy, the more they realize that the enemy has a lot more toys than the Imperium. And most of these toys are much more effective than the Imperial stuff. Then again, he started off as a Puritan. Alternatively, young Inquisitors can start off radical, wondering why so little progress has been made doing things the old-fashioned way, and then getting a very sharp reality check and learning the hard way exactly why those cool, naughty toys are forbidden, leading them back into Puritanism. However, given that most Inquisitors will face chaos at some point, and given the inherently corrupting nature of the warp, radicalism may lead to one hoping to fight the archenemy with its own tools before being brought into the service of the Chaos Gods instead. Consequently, an accusation of radicalism is only slightly less serious than an accusation of outright heresy. Radicalism can fall into a lot more branches than Puritanism, and the following is merely a list of the most common forms it can take. First, we've got radical Thorians, and their three branches. Casophilians, another branch of Thorianism, interested in learning how to summon a deceased soul back to the Materium, in the hope that doing so could be the first step to resurrecting the Emperor. In practice, this would probably resemble a form of reverse demon summoning. Relatively conservative by radical standards, they are one of the few factions that can be considered open to new ideas and are known to work especially well with the Anomalian Beholders. The heresy novels reveal that summoning deceased souls back from the warp is possible, but is seriously bad chaos juju and risks creating the fate-warping immortals who really don't want to be alive again after what they've been through. Horusians, one of the most dangerous forms of radicalism and a splinter of a Thorian philosophy. Horusians, named unsurprisingly after Horus Lupercal and founded by Moriana, once one of the first Inquisitors and now an infamous Chaos Witch, as in personal diviner of the Despoiler and only not Astartes or Cyborg in the Black Legion command. Believe that the power of Chaos Gods imbued Horus to fight the Emperor can be used to create a new body for the Emperor. Mostly consists of older Inquisitors who have become angry with the other resurrection theories failing to get shit done. Notably give their name to a factional struggle within the Inquisition itself, almost back from its founding days. Inquisitorial archivists note that the goal and methods of each Horusian group seems to differ, suggesting that it's a loose set of ideas with similar aims, rather than a formalized faction. And then we've got revivificationism. Another radical form of Thorianism, revivificators believe in studying the effects of death and dying so that they can reverse the process and revive the Emperor of mankind. Revivificators have a deep interest in studying the Eldar as a result and have less ties to the ecclesiarchy. Also occasionally try to summon angels, the demons of the Emperor, with predictable results. There are a number of strange phenomena occurring among the faithful in the Psychic Awakening. While it's a bit early to say for certain that these fellows were right the entire time, this is a good time to be a revivificationist. Next up we got Istvanism. One of the most violent forms of radicalism, Istvanians, named for the virus bombing of Istvan III, which began the Horus heresy, believe that conflict is desirable, and mankind only grows in a state of violence. While it is said that necessity is the mother of invention, the culture in 40k minimizes advancements of any kind, and the Imperium is struggling to hold on as is. In practice, this leads to various conflicts that would otherwise remain minor, suddenly becoming unmanageable because as Istvanite was covertly funneling resources to one or both sides, setting people up or committing false flag attacks to escalate tensions. Possibly the only group in the galaxy who views the Imperium's biggest problem as too few wars. Still managed to be less hated than the Xanthians, which will be discussed below. TLDR, they think that constantly punching yourself in the face and testicles is a good way to become stronger, or that shooting yourself with lower calibers will make you resistant to higher ones. Like many things in 40k, this is debatable and depends heavily on the context. Libricars, an extreme version of Amaltheanism that insists that even the smallest deviations from the status quo warrants purging. Unlike the Amaltheans, who will do absolutely anything to ensure the status quo. Needless to say, the Recongregators hate them, and the Amaltheans consider them to be a perversion for everything they stand for. More on Recongregators below. They may actually be the second most dangerous radical faction of the Inquisition, due to the fact that they indirectly show their support to Nurgle through their actions, causing stagnation. Not only that, But the Emperor wanted the status. If the Emperor wanted status quo to remain, then the very change they fight against wouldn't be happening, right? So they may be a bunch of heretics too far up their own asses to realize it. Oblationists. Bizarro monodominants that insist that the truly righteous, i.e. themselves, must allow themselves to be damned through the use of the warp, the xenos, and the unclean to keep the humanity safe, like the Zenthites below. At the same time, they believe that anyone else using these things will be hopelessly damned and ought to be purged. The sheer hypocrisy of this is lost on them, and their extreme intolerance of other radicals makes them real easily the nuttiest bunch that aren't out-and-out traitors, only beaten out in evil by one other group. Then again, not necessarily as stupid as they first sound. The philosophy is similar to the odd sect of Christians that Rasputin belonged to. The idea is that you need to sin and be forgiven to truly understand faith. Human nature is inherently corrupt, and as intended by the Emperor, so the only question is that you do as a corrupt being. Oblation means sacrifice, by the way, so this seems to fit. They'd be people who believe that all that cool loot is a necessary burden, not sweet toys. They think only they can be trusted with it because they are the only ones who understand it's both utterly necessary and utterly evil without lying to themselves. Or at least so they claim. Ocularians. A minor faction obsessed with learning how to predict and divine the future, no matter the cost of doing so. Paranoid even by Inquisition standards, partly because they think knowledge is power and should be guarded well, partly because hardcore Puritans like putting their heresy-stomping boots up the Ocularians' rear every time they cough. They make heavy use of Psykers and the Emperor's Tarot, along with Adeptus Mechanicus tech, which has resulted in a few members going full sorcerer and falling to chaos. Antiquarity. A subgroup of Ocularians that seek to predict the future by discovering patterns within events in the past. That wouldn't be hard if anyone allowed them to see the few books in the past, since no one teaches history in the grimdark future, or if the Ordo Redactus weren't going full 1984 every time someone coughs at them. Plutonians. A faction of the Ordo Malleus that made their debut in White Dwarf issue 462. The core of their philosophy is that healthy exorcism is an imperial part of a complete soldier's training. After the chapter master of the Exorcists, Space Marines, who were retconned into being just an Imperial Fist successor chapter at first, not demon hunters, was possessed by a demon, they guided him through the exorcism process. After he seemed to be almost as resistant to chaos as a Grey Knight without massive amounts of psycho-indoctrination that makes you into a serial killer, the Plutonians transformed the Exorcists into an entire, mostly, Codex-compliant chapter of warp-camouflaged demon hunters. Their ideas seem to have been successful. After all, the Exorcists have managed to be a chapter of Astartes demon hunters without going batshit insane. A logical next step would likely be to create a rainbow of successor chapters like the Exorcists to ward the Great Rift. But then again, when did the Inquisition and logic go together? It should be noted that this process has a very high attrition rate though. The Exorcists need to keep 3 scout companies instead of 1, and Gene Seed is a very scarce and precious resource. And it's a very careful balancing act. Too small a demon, and that won't happen. Too large a demon, and there is an almost certain chance that the Marine being exorcised from is going to die. Polypsychana. A group that believes humanity is evolving into a fully psychic race, which appears to be true. And that it is a good idea for them to do everything they can to accelerate this process, which is arguable. This viewpoint is obviously more common among Inquisitors who are themselves Psykers. Fancying themselves as shepherds, they round up and shelter Psykers from the more puritanical elements of the Inquisition and the Adeptus Astra Telepathica. Unfortunately, this often ends with them enabling witch covens. With a psychic awakening, it is probably a pretty good time to be a Polypsychana. You can talk down to your fellow Inquisitors about how you were trying to prevent a scenario like this from happening, that the organic transition into a psychic humanity that you advocated for was clearly better than the scenario which nature eventually threw at the galaxy. Whether or not that gets you a bolt in the face is anyone's guess, since in this hypothetical situation you are an Inquisitor. Recongregationism. Radicals who believe that the Imperium had become stagnant and corrupt and needs to be rebuilt lest it collapses further. Unfortunately for them, they aren't entirely sure about how to do this, or how it should be rebuilt after tearing down the old order. Some of the more extreme recongregators end up like Lillian Chase, an Inquisitor who fell to chaos and founded the Cognitae, or at least its 40k incarnation. These Inquisitors may be the closest thing to a token heroic faction of the Imperium or of men, next to the Salamanders, Ultramarines, Lamenters, Space Wolves, to a certain and limited extent of course, considering they are the Inquisitors trying giving a crap about ordinary people. Some of them apparently have some interesting ideas about the way to fix the Imperium. As shown in a small story, one of them used a cadre of Xenos hunters composed of Space Marines from chapters that Puritans aren't too fond of, Black Dragons, Flame Falcons, etc., to simultaneously stop a Necron incursion and topple an oppressive planetary government with the hope something better will go out of the consecutive population uprising. Ever since Gilliman returned and started unfucking the Imperium writ large, it seems to be a good time to be a Recongregationist too, since they are the faction Papa Blueberry would probably like the most. Seculus Attendus, Reddit Atheists, a minor faction that views the ecclesiarchy as an obstacle to mankind's progress and seeks to weaken it whenever they can. A shame that they can't agree on what to replace it with on the absurdly tiny chance they succeed. Xanthism, the most overt and well-known form of radicalism. Xanthians, named after Lord Inquisitor Zaranchek Xanthus, one of the founders of the Inquisition, who was actually killed and replaced by Basilio Foe at the Siege of Terra, allegedly executed for heresy in M32, hold that only by controlling the power of chaos can chaos be defeated, which is like thinking that the solution to being stabbed in the gut is to push the blade until it comes out through your back. They believe that chaotic artifacts such as possessed swords and demon hosts are viable weapons against the archenemy, which should be used whenever possible. Most of the time, this ends up spectacularly backfiring when their tools rebel at the worst possible time, or worse, corrupt the Xanthite using them into the service of chaos. The ruinous powers hate each other, but they aren't always complete idiots about it, and when you play with fire, you only have to drop it once to set the whole house ablaze. Still, they're surprisingly zealous opponents of chaos despite their questionable choices about how to fight it, and their methods work very well when they do work. Eisenhorn eventually followed Xanthism after being forced to use Cherubael to save the lives of his retinue. And it's got one notable subgroup, Phaenonism, the only group worse than the aforementioned Oblationists, insomuch that the Oblationists are at least loyal to mankind. To put in perspective just how batshit insane these assholes are, the Xanthites consider them to be utterly off their rockers. They dabbled in tech heresy along with the usual Xanthite fare, resulting in them openly denying the Emperor was a god and starting to create warp-powered machines to try and rebuild the Imperium as they felt it should be. Suffice to say, the Inquisition was not amused. While they were officially given the boot and are presumed to be wiped out by the rest of the Inquisition, a handful of Phaenonites are still active in their ranks and trying to quietly rebuild the power of their power base. And finally, we've got Xenohybrids, a small group that sees strict anti-alien policies as being counterproductive to the Imperium of Man. They feel that sometimes Xenos can be useful or be learned from, especially when working against chaos. Many Inquisitors of the Ordo Malleus in particular will do this to deal with the forces of chaos every now and again, but the Xenohybrids make seeking said cooperation their hat. At the very least, these guys are not tempting fate to the same extent as by other radicals, especially since their toys are much less likely to eat their souls. Given recent events with the Eldar and the Gentleman's Agreement with the Tau, this faction is likely gaining power and influence at the moment, in spite of some high-profile fails. Cough cough, Octarius War, cough cough. However, I believe I've yapped on long enough. Let's do one more mission, and come next stream, or rather next Wednesday, we will be killing one more boss. For now, though, I'm thinking we can, first of all, go for Incendine Combustor, or Heavy Phosphor Blaster. No, Incendine Combustor should do. We are lacking in physical damage somewhat. So let's see here. Yeah, go ahead. I'm not leaving anytime soon. Where were you? Jeremiah, Honorius, there, Leonardus. Replacing your current Xenorite X. Or actually no. Jeremiah, we're replacing your current Power X with the new and upgraded one. You do have the augment capacity for it. we've got a lot of blackstone to spend on upgrades, which we will see about in a bit. Sanctus canister, refractor field generator, cog occultaris. Yeah, I think we can equip this one. And possibly, in addition to this cognition mechadendrite, also the infestus mechadendrite. No other power field generator just yet. There's the Cognis Flamer and the Heavy Arc Rifle. Let's think about it. So. Arc Scourge is a fairly short-ranged weapon. It's got it's got 1 augmentation point to use, while Heavy Arc Rifle will require 3, so if we were to replace it here, we would need 1 more augment capacity point, which I am thinking will go towards Tech Auxilium, just for that little bit of physical armor. If we were to replace it, we'll be replacing the Dominus one, which gives us energy armor, so it should be 1-1. And there it is, Heavy Arc Rifle. 1 to 12 energy damage to target, 1 to 4 energy damage to chain targets, as opposed to 1 to 8 and 1 to 2. Definitely an upgrade, even if it takes 3 cognition points to activate. Might as well also give you a Cognis Flamer, just so that you've got something with a bit more oomph than Omnissiah Axe and Gamma Pistol, as a holdover. Maybe holdover is not the correct word, though. I'll think about that. No. A better power field generator wouldn't go amiss, so Constellations of Madness it is. The Tomb of Acropis contains monuments to Acropis's non-standard model of the universe, particularly blasphemous to the cult Mechanicus. Lector Dogmatics Videx requires a machine cleansing ritual in the tomb. Immortals, Lichguard, Praetorians, Deathmarks. And the same setup. Skitarii Vanguard, Skitarii Ranger Alpha, Skitarii Ranger. I have been examining the data from the Tomb of Acropis, Magus. This particular Necron is uniquely offensive to a devotee of the cult Mechanicus. How so, Videx? It seems that this Acropis was a royal astronomer of sorts, but the examples of stellar cartography from his tomb are at odds with standard model of the universe as recorded in the libraries of Metallica. And I take it you are particularly invested in the standard model. It formed the basis of my first studies into the cult Mechanicus, Etheric Manuscripts Appendix 71. Without a standard model, there is naught but madness and chaos among the stars. A machine cleansing ritual in the Tomb of Acropis will counteract this blasphemy. I shall think of it, on it, Lector Dogmatis. If I judge you worthy of our resources and the risk to my tech priests and Skitarii, it shall be done. I have plotted the 12 locations where Lingua Technis sigils can be placed to form the basis of the ritual. 12? That seems excessive. There is nothing excessive about cleaving to the standard model of this universe. It is the basis of the 44 observations on the cosmos, of the Catechism's Logica, of the 900 books of the... Your point is made, Videx. Is the team ready to advance to the first location, Subdomina? Immediately, Magus. If it is your wish. It is. Alright, first stop over here. Second stop is 2, 3, 4. And that should be it. Up we go. This indeed appears to be a challenging foe for sure. These reminds me of the storm shields we manufacture for Terminator squads. Agreed. They certainly represent the most elite of the Necrons that we've seen so far. If it follows the trend of other Necrons, then surely these are the of the few who appear to be able to think independently of their lords. So, Lich Guard, Immortal, Praetorian, Deathmark. The whole team is here. Jeremiah and Leonardus up front, Manarius and Oricus right behind them. Here they come. Leonardus would be so kind as to grab that cognition point. Anything you can tell us about... Just give some physical armor and stay over there. We'll let them come to us. Five. 1. Thank you. Now get me another cognition point. And let's see if this will give us any solid results. Oh, very good. No physical armor to speak of. Oh, we unfortunately cannot engage you in this condition, so generate Mechadendrite. Here you go. And Omnissiah X to polish it off. This should be enough to finish you off next round. So our Canoptech Scarabs. Nothing interesting so far. Not gonna be deploying anyone. Here comes the Lich Guard. Here comes Deathmark. Being useless for now. There's the Immortal. There we go. As for Oricus, I'm thinking we shift you at least here. So you can take pot shots at Canoptech Scarabs. Cognis Flamer is long enough, but not too wide of a cone. Yeah, another dash would be okay. And over here. That we get some cognition back and immediately spend it very good damage. Yeah, looks like you'll have to get over there, Jeremiah. And same with you, Menarius. We'll deal with that Triarch Praetorian once Oriacus' turn comes up. Some more Captic Scarabs, as expected. But we will need to grab some more cognition points. Here comes the Lich Guard. 3 damage. 3 damage here as well. Now you teleport away, like a coward you are. Some more damage. 10 this, or 5 this time. Again, nothing we cannot deal with. That one's done. Gamma pistol. And you will be dealt with immediately. Just one more burn, and this will be enough. This is gonna hurt, of course. But it was to be done. Now, deal with those Canoptic Scarabs immediately. Healing yourself up? Oh, of course you do. Get me some cognition. Tell me a little bit about yourself. 7 physical armor. I see how it is. And if I try to move away, that of course is gonna hurt a lot, so I'm thinking we pop overcharged cognition. We'll take this next hit on the chin. I'll take that. Cognition freedom, because we can allow ourselves to be frugal a bit. And... oh, that's not what I was going for. Resistance at this stage has been more than we would have expected of a force filled with brainless drones. Highly armored targets like these are proving to be far more resilient to our weapons than we would have predicted. They're also very driven, like no other Necron, to accomplish their goal of protecting the tomb. Which means they move up and they counterattack. But what I was going to do is strip away some armor from you. They will attack again. And we can hit them again with this. Now we will absolutely need to heal you up after that, otherwise we are cooked. Or at least Jeremiah is cooked, and I would rather not lose Jeremiah just yet. See, I were to shoot here... Yeah, this will be more than enough. So, Cognition Freedom. And Heavy Arc Rifle. Go. Wonderful. Ledge guards are nasty opponents, I tell you what. You. Physical armor. Understood. We'll deal with you accordingly. Two damage. Will you burn down now, with if you have any decency? There you go. That's what I like to see. And that is what I don't like to see. We'll deal damage here. We heal up Monarius. And then we can go first over here to hopefully deal with Canoptech Scarabs. There we go. And then buff the Skitari Ranger. So that should be it for now. So, Galvanic Rifle. Disabling Shot. Switch position. And let Leonardus punch him in the face with an axe with all his might. Oh, but of course, Cognition Mechanism right first. Power Field Generator. Xenarite Axe. 8 damage. Wonderful. That's what I like to see. I'll never tire from saying that. Oh, you got yourself some French fries. That's nice. That's very, very nice. We just finished up our first encounter. Took some HP losses, but nothing unmanageable. Blasphemy looms over this place, Magus. I counsel caution. When the sigil is inscribed on the floor of this chamber, several Necron hieroglyphics appear on the walls, glowing a baleful red as if in angry response. Translate? Supplicate? No. Obliterate. Try to destroy the Necron symbols, so only the Omnissiah's voice can be heard in this place. With plasma cutters and burning promethium, the cohort attacks the Necron symbols. They can only be defaced rather than erased, but this act of sacred defiance brings a sense of moral victory to the darkness of the Tomb of Acropis. Next up, Glyph Room. Let's hope for something good. The one on the right, if I recall correctly. Yes. Another Glyph Room. What do we get? If memory serves right, we choose the one on the right once again. That was not the correct choice. On to the next room we go, and we are hitting to Awake level 2. some Canoptech Scarabs meeting us already. Another immortal. So we got 2 immortals. Survived 3 rounds. A Triarch Praetorian. And that is it for now. More will be coming up here, here, and I'm thinking here. So gotta stay in the center. Jeremiah up front. Same with Leonardus. Manarius goes here. Oriacus over here to heal them all up. Vanguard here. Ranger Alpha here. And we'll deploy Ranger proper at next turn. Tell me about this one. 2 physical, 1 energy. That's what I wanted to hear. Precisely what I wanted to hear. Cognition freedom. Energy enhancer. Heavy arc rifle. Kill it. Almost. Now tie down this immortal. And defensive matrix activate. Duck and cover, little guy, duck and cover. That is all I ask of you. Give me those sweet, sweet cognition points. With that, we can rule the universe. Well, maybe not exactly the universe, but this particular encounter, definitely. Off it goes. Next to our ranged guys as expected. 5 damage. 3. I'll take it. Yeah, I said, not pleasant to deal with, but I will manage. Believe me, that's not just my dog you're hearing out there. She's communicating with a lot of others. But most likely you're hearing her first and foremost. She's a lovely gal. Very jealous when it comes to getting headbats. When she sees someone instead of her getting headbats, she will rush in to steal the glory, so to speak. But that's why I love her. She has been with me for oh so long. Also, how? And I will see you burn in a second. Like that. She is adorable. I love her to bits. It will be very sad when she finally passes away. She's lived a good life. But she is still holding out good. She's still holding out good is all I can say at this point in time. well, not exactly over 10 years old. I think a little less than that. About 7, if memory serves right. 7, maybe 8. But I may be wrong. I'll need to ask. My memory is not what it used to be. Absolutely not. Now I'm thinking we go over here and dispose of the body in a proper manner. And we'll let them come. Back up to level 2. Who do we have here? 2 Triarch Praetorians. Unpleasant. But we'll manage. We will. We absolutely will. No, this will kill him. This is not going to do that much damage to begin with, so I suppose we just shift position. We do have some cognition points to spare. If we were to shoot, this would damage both of them, hopefully. Ooh, now that is what I like to see. Abso-freaking-lutely. Acid, not so much. But we're good enough to deal with those assholes, right? Let's try and move away. I guess we're gonna lose you. Unfortunate. But sometimes it be like that. Little guy did everything he could, but that was not enough. It is what it is. Maybe this final push will be enough. No, not yet. Who are you gunning after? Interesting choice. We're gonna shoot. Yep, more damage. 3. I'll take it. You know what else I'm gonna take? I'm gonna take on you, buddy. 3 physical armor. No wonder it took you so long to go down. No sudden movements from you. I would like to know more about you. Let's strip some of that armor. I'll take 4 damage. And if you try to do something funny, I'll take care of you too. Like that. Now, Jeremiah, how would you like to finally use that arc scourge of yours? If we get up close and personal over here, this shouldn't be too bad. Especially... No, not yet. We'll just do it like so. 7 damage. 3 damage at you. And then we kill you with an axe to the head. Let's look at your ability. Rapid Fire allows the Skitari to perform additional attack. I'm gonna take it, and I'm gonna see you reduced to ashes. There's the second wave. What do we get? Who do we get? 2 immortals. I can deal with that. Provided they're not too annoying. And something tells me they just might, but let's figure out who we're dealing with here. 3 physical armor, so that means high chance that one has energy armor. Quick pit stopped here to grab cognition. Now we move up here. Grab one more on our way there. And let's unleash the heavy arc rifle. Sayonara! Oh, we were so close and you chose to not play along. Fine, I guess I'm gonna have to deal with you the old-fashioned way. Tat for tat? No. I'm just gonna move over here and shoot you with a gamma pistol. Just 1 damage, huh? If you insist. If you absolutely insist on the fact that you would like to do something differently, then fine. But your reckoning will come. Mark my words. You better mark my words, boy. Physical armor as well. What do you know? But they are hurting pretty badly, I will say. Nothing we cannot handle, though. Nothing we cannot handle. I'd rather see you taken care of immediately, of course. Ooh, now that was a nice crit. Very nice. Very nice. And give him some physical armor, just so that we are completely certain. And I'll trade 1 for 3. Always a good investment. Jeremiah, how would you like to break out your Arclands? Or, I forgot the name once again. Arc Scourge. This'll be fun. This is gonna be even more fun. Come on! There we go. Precisely what I wanted to see. And I will deal with you as well. This is chip damage. And no, that's not quite chip damage. I'm definitely gonna take it. Always economize. Manarius, would you do the honors? Apologies in advance. This is high AoE damage, but it was necessary, and we thank you for that. The final sigil is put in place. Immediately, the pre-ritual canticle streamed through the noosphere in preparation for the full incantation. The Tomb of Acropis is held in a secret web of information that, for the moment, holds off the corruption of the Necrons. The sigils are in place. The ceremony can commence. I have 30 dedicated servitors fully programmed with the 71st Ritual of Compliance. I shall require the use of the mustard deck and 400 gallons of blessed machine oil. Do what you must, Vedex. Let the tomb be purified in the name of the Omnissiah. I hope it will be worth the effort. It will be Magus. The Necrons shall soon know as we do the words of the fabricated General Sin Cosinius. Obey the standard model or obey the laws of death. Neftusk sector located. A sense of monumental muscular power fills the tomb. It is a deafening industrial sprawl, echoing the forge worlds of the Adeptus Mechanicus, but unmistakably alien. Its inner workings and architecture are laid open to see. Pipework and support beams span the spaces between hulking masses of machinery. The air is heavy and hot with steam and tastes of leaking fuel. From everywhere comes the grinding din of huge engines underfoot, while pistons hammer endlessly. Canoptech labor constructs continue to assemble new areas and structures, locked in a constant cycle of rebuilding. Columns of Scarab constructs repair and remake. It would be folly to assume they are the only inhabitants. And Zaragon sector. The magnificence of a long-vanished dynasty is perfectly preserved in this tomb, overwhelming in its aggressive grandeur. The halls are polished, grandiose marvels, adorned with the images of Necrons glowering down as if to ward off the eyes of the unworthy. This place is a monument to the power and arrogance of the interred. Every surface reflects the assumption of total authority. The dark opulence boils over into obscenity, as if the creator thought of itself not just as a king, but as a god. To a human, the wealth contained within this place is astonishing, but such concerns wither in the presence of whatever the tomb was built to aggrandize. It is impossible for such a monument of power to go unguarded. We also get a new Heretic deployment. This will give us a spotlight and a final upgrade for Skitarii Ranger Alpha. There it is. Twilight of the Gods. The Tomb of Zaragon has finally been discovered. Enter the tomb and destroy Overlord Zaragon, master of the tomb complex's Necrons and the ultimate source of a threat posed by Silva Tenebris. Difficulty? Praise the Omnissiah. Otherwise, we will be facing their Overlord Zaragon, Vizier Mhelob, Grand Architect Neftusk, Lord Ubiao, and Lord Astronomer Acropis. So it's advisable that we deal with those before delving into the final boss. For now, however, I think it's time for us to finally end the stream for tonight. Now, where was that one? There we go. That's the one I was looking for. And on that note, I would like to thank you all for coming tonight. Hopefully you're enjoying this as much as I do. And I will see you all tomorrow when we go back to Shadowrun. Thank you, and good night.